What is up, Rotogrinders? Apologies, a couple of minutes late getting started. Still 2 hours of Mlb Dfs. MLB. What is up, Rotogrinders? Oh, hold on. I'm hearing myself talking to myself. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I had the YouTube deal up, and I was talking to Chop pre-show, and I'm like, this technology, this new streamer using, it's going to throw you off a little bit. Just follow my lead. Chop, don't follow my lead because I just screwed up. I goofed it. We're doing it live. I don't know if you're aware of it. We are live on the YouTube right now. What up, YouTube? Hit that like button. Hit all the things. You know, click all the buttons. Hit like, subscribe, notifications, everything. Yeah, Chopper, you're on the screen now. That your mic check is showing up on the screen. The people in chat. If your comment is good enough, we have goal. But it's not on me. It's the goalkeepers, right? We got, we got producer Steve. We got producer Devin. I presume both of them have the ability to throw their comments up on the screen. Feel free to, participate in the conversation on YouTube. We're also going to be running a little Discord promo for the people. If you jump in our Discord channel, we want to encourage that. How do we do that, Chop? We give away 2 1-week free passes to RG Premium, not just baseball, but all the sports, including golf and F1 and NBA still, NHL still. What's up, Chopper? How are things in your world?
I'm not sure, Dean. I'm like totally baffled here by what's going on here. So this is definitely different, but we'll figure it out. Everything's going okay, I guess. It's hot in Texas. It's hot. I don't know, Dean, I have to tell you a story real quick. You're not going to believe it. We're in the middle of a heat wave in Texas. It's bad. What are we talking? Triple digits? Oh, yeah. It's been, today it cooled off just a little bit, into the 90s. But we've had several straight days of triple digits. It's been really bad, heat wave, everything going on. I woke up on Friday night, middle of the night, and I was like, damn, it's hot in this house. What's going on here? I go and my AC is blown out. Oh, Friday night. So now I'm in the Saturday morning. You can't get an AC guy on Saturday on the week. Like, what a disaster that was, man, for Saturday. Disaster, Dean.
We talking 10K? What are we talking to get a new AC?
Oh, no. It's not about the money. It's just about the discomfort of there's nothing, no matter how much money you got, you can't make that some guy come out there and fix your AC any faster. He's going on his time,
Yeah.
So I had it was a rough Saturday. Finally on Saturday night, we're back up and running. So
whew. Were you rocking like a tank top and like some short shorts or something that can kind of, subdue the heat?
Very, very close, Dean. If I say any more, you might get a little turned on here on the show. You gotta be careful.
This is an intimate show because Chief Justice will be joining us soon enough, in theory. Not really sure what's going on with him, but he'll be jumping in at some point. Later on in the show, y'all get DerekCarty. You're going to get Andre as well. Anything weather-wise going on, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth will talk about it around 6:30. Crunch time crew comes in. Of course, one of the big things as far as the slate tonight, Chop, is weather, but not precipitation, but wind. Last I saw, it's a 12 total in Wrigley. 2 mediocre offenses. I guess San Diego's about fine offense, I suppose. Still lacking in the absence of Tatis, who had a bad report, by the way. He's whatever his target date was, it's going to fall back. He's not going to be back as expected. Maybe soon enough, but if you're in season long and you drafted yourself some Tatis, you're probably not so happy about that. But that's why you play DFS. It's about today and today only. 12 total, I believe. 2 kind of inept pitchers taking the bump, and we got a Coors game. It's a wild slate for sure. By the way, I mentioned before, and I didn't tell the people exactly where to go in the Discord. It's like, hey, in the Discord channel, producer Devin's going to be dropping a party popper, and just click that bell, and you'll make yourself eligible. You don't have to do anything else. Just click the deal. And where is that Discord channel? It's Rotogrinders.com/Discord, and you want to go to the live stream chat channel. In there, producer Devin's going to drop a bell, a party popper, if you will. Click that. You'll be eligible for it, and you might give yourself, depending on how many people click it, we're giving away 2 1-week passes, a 1 in 5, 1 in 10 shot. That's a very, very easy way to get yourself some Rotogrinders premium. You can test out a lot of the products we're talking about, a lot of the lineup HQ and the Slate, the Slate IQ and the umpire data and the, Ross Weather Edge. You get everything for 1 week. All right, so there you go. Feel free to check that out. We'll mention it later on in the show too as people kind of sprinkle on through. the audience grows as the show progresses because, Chop, a lot of people just like getting in their car now, probably on their way home from work and things like that, 9 to 5s. But all right, Chopper, the slate tonight, it's a lot, man. It's a lot of good stuff. It's good pitching, it's good hitting, and it's not even like a full slate. We're talking 9 games, but I think you're supposed to like your lineups tonight.
Are you asking me if I like my lineups?
Well, I mean, okay, so let me ask you this. What are you doing tonight as far as you're running the, Friday night, like you have yourself a good time? Are you running your 150 on FanDuel, or what are we doing?
Oh, Dean, I didn't even tell you the other part of the news. Jeez,
did you win?
Crazy. No. Saturday I blew the AC out, right? It's a miserable Saturday. No air conditioning. I'm sitting in Texas and then watching my thermometer climb inside the house, and it was Monday rolls around, and I sign up for my 150 on FanDuel.
Okay.
Got my 150, my placeholder, which is just, a bunch of scrubs. I just, sort through the last game. I want all my placeholder to be all in the last game, just in case something happens.
You backload it, yeah.
Yeah. My Excel goes out.
Oh, jeez.
You can't do CSV without Excel operating, doing something. It was completely out. Like it was gonzo. The registry was messed up. I had registry things problems. It was like an all day thing. Took me till like into the night to get it done. Bottom line, Dean, I blew 150 lineups. Didn't cancel them. Just had a placeholder out there, 150 placeholder.
Did you run a train? Like something like you could?
Yeah, I tried to run a train with it, but it actually just bubbled and didn't cash, which is even worse. But so blew the whole 150, D. What a 3-day span for me. Just terrible. Lots of money out the window for old Chopper, man.
Well, maybe it all turns around for you tonight. You're due for some positive regression. Is that a thing? Maybe possibly.
So yeah, 150. Let's go.
Chopper, you playing the golf? There's a major going down this week.
Yeah, somebody told me there was a major yesterday, so yeah, I gotta play. I jump in there. If it wasn't a major, I don't know how much I'd play, but you got a major, so you got to take advantage of it.
I feel like you're good at it. I don't know. I know you had some runs before in the past at golf. Do you only pick the majors essentially?
Yeah, pretty much. I do a little bit on the other if I feel like it, but during the summer months a little bit more because it's a little bit more boring without basketball when basketball goes away and no football. But so I'll play a little bit. But there's a whole new wave of new golfers. You really have to get to know them before you. It's not the same old guys back in the day when I played, and it's Dustin Johnson and Jordan Spieth was good, and this, it's a whole new wave of guys. I don't even know half their names.
Well, hey, it might be helpful for you, Chop. Listen to the PGA Twitter space that's going down tonight on the Rotogrinders handle. PGA Twitter space tonight for the U.S. Open. You got SDL cards fresh off his birthday. You got Notorious. And more. Are you a part of the and more? Are you invited? Are you going to be on there or no?
I am not. Oh, you know what? I might jump in there and listen to them though, but I'm not on it to give no advice. Absolutely not.
So I think so don't quote me on this. This technology is scary to me, but I think when you can participate in the conversation, like if you listen, I think the moderator has an ability to let somebody else join the conversation. Maybe you could be that guy.
Why would I want to join a conversation about things I just don't know very much about, Dean? Not like those guys. Those guys are sharp.
That's never stopped people on Twitter before.
Hey, Dean, can we just give a big shout out? Is STL Cards going to be part of the program?
Yeah, STL Cards and Notorious and more, whoever that is.
Shout out to STL Cards for surviving that stuff at his birth, man. That's a tough guy right there. He survived it, Dean. He came through.
Yeah, he said he was born in a helicopter 2 months early.
Which is
it was down to 1.5 pounds. A pound and a half. That's
he glossed over the headline. How are you born in a helicopter? That's in the what was that? 80s, late 70s, something like that. Helicopters weren't even a big thing back then.
Helicopters existed, but I've never been in a helicopter in my life. I don't think. What are the odds?
And he's born in one. Crazy.
Yeah. I think that's what he said, or maybe he had to take a helicopter to the hospital or whatever. But yeah, shout out to he beat the odds as he's known to do, right? So there you go. Good for Cards, and yeah. So check him out tonight with Notorious, others as well for the PGA Twitter space. And again, if you guys get your 1 week free of RG Premium, you can use that the golf content to win I assume there's got to be a Millie today, right? I assume there's a Millie this week on DK.
I'd imagine there's multiple millions out there.
There you go. I don't think I'm going to partake. Maybe I'll fire one just for funsies. You never know. Just like, so you're telling me there's a chance.
Sure, why not, Dean? And shout out to Kirk Deese with that heck of a tweet where he put the side by side with you and Antonio Brown.
That was
similarities are striking similarities.
That was pretty good. I told him, I called him out. I said, "Hey, Kirk Deese, your Twitter game's not great," and I'm kind of a hypocrite because I'm not spectacular. I'm fine, serviceable, but he upped his Twitter game. Good job, and hopefully he got a few new followers out of that. It was pretty impressive. Also, shout out to Kirk Deese. He was in the chat. I feel like others were in the chat as well, talking about Tyler Mahle yesterday. And I did not play him. I only play so many lineups. I didn't get to him. And he was awesome yesterday. And I assume Kirk Deese played him. So I don't know. I don't know if he had himself a lovely evening or not. But if he's lurking, let us know. And, yeah, anything else going on in the chat, anything interesting, anything of note, producer Steve, producer Devin, they're going to be throwing that up on the screen. Y'all going to be featured. Part of our new our new streaming system. We get to show up the comments. The people like to see that, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Was that a question?
Let me tell
you about this Excel issue I had on Monday. It was so bad I couldn't figure it out, Dean, and I did every day. And I'm pretty handy with the old computer, man. I can figure most things out. I couldn't figure it out. So I had to get on the phone with Microsoft, or get on the chat with Microsoft. Well, this guy wants to, do the thing where they take control of your computer.
Yeah.
Oh, you talk about a scary situation and feeling very violated. Like, I had to turn over control. I had to let him in, and I'm just watching him.
Isn't that wild that he can do that?
Roam around my computer. And I'm like, oh, no. Then the guy starts to disable all my antiviruses, and I'm thinking, oh my God, he's going in for the kill. This is it. They're going to take my whole bank account and everything. It was a scary situation, Dean. I think I survived though, unless he planted something in there that I don't know about. But so it was a big deal, big mess up.
Monitor your bank account for the next few days. Are you playing Fanduel tonight or DK? You playing both? What are you concentrating on?
No, I'm playing Fanduel.
All right.
I can't even afford DK anymore after this weekend.
You can afford. I think you'll be fine. I mean, I'm not privy to, unless you're assuming this guy that is stealing everything out of your bank account already, but I feel like you're doing okay. You have a pretty good history, but you know better than me, I suppose.
Yeah, the Top Shot account. I like that one. Good luck with that one. You know what else happened to me, Dean? You know what else is going on, Dean? About a year ago, I went all solar, man. All solar on my house. I'm saving $30 a month on my bill. It wasn't even worth it. I don't even know what the hell is going on. These guys got some explaining to do, man. Big ripoff, this solar thing.
It's funny. I see Alex in chat saying you guys will talk less DFS, and but I wanted to make a point about now that you brought that up. One of the one thing in life that makes no sense to me. I see it all the time, like Florida Power and Light in Florida Power and Light. They're running commercials. You don't have to sell me on power. I'm in. Nobody's watched that commercial. Oh, wow. Wait, I can get lights on, off. I can have internet technology. You don't have to spend the money on advertising. I'm already buying it. We're all sold. Just cut out your advertising budget and cut the deal by 10%. Who's with me?
Dean, yeah. Why advertise when you own the monopoly on the whole damn thing?
Well, that too. Yeah. It's a monopoly, and we all already want it. It's not. You don't have that. Oh wow! That Edison was really onto something. Before I wasn't a fan.
Unless you're like the Unabomber out there in the West Virginia woods, just chilling and doing your own thing. Yeah, everybody wants a little power.
It's just such a weird thing. You don't have to advertise that to me. It sells itself. All right, tonight's slate. We kind of teased it a couple times. The wind going down in Chicago. Let's go ahead and check Roth's weather report. But Roth made a Crocodile Dundee reference in his. How old is Roth? That's a really dated reference. But yeah, if you fire up the old, obviously he's got his weather report that's free for everybody, but then we have the weather edge as well too. And last I saw, it's actually a pretty small sample as far as the games. We haven't seen this kind of scenario with this specific weather in Chicago terribly often. Well, look, no matching historical games available. That's wild. None. This ballpark's been around since like 1910 or something. Well, I don't know how far back the data goes, but okay. But we know the wind's blowing out ridiculously. It's going to be hot as well. We got a fire emoji in St. Louis also. Shout out to Cards. We've had that for the last couple of days. It's close to 100 there. But, Vegas, if nothing else, just look at Vegas. The total in that game, let me hit the refresh button. I believe it's still 12. Yeah, 12 for the Cubbies and the Padres, both of the team total. Well, the Padres have a 5.5 and the Cubs have a 6.5. Ryan Weathers, good Lord, he's not very good. Son of David Weathers, former Marlins prospect many, many years ago. And he went on other teams too. And then, of course, we have the Coors game with a 12 total as well because you got Connor Pilkington, Fluffy, as I believe Dave Potts, Jesus Good likes to call him, Oster Gomber on the other side. And then we have other good offenses too, like the Braves. Toronto against Zimmerman looks like awesome. And then we have some aces. It's weird because it feels like we have a slate that's bigger than 9 games. There's just a lot of good stuff. And also the Padres and the Cubs are really cheap. They're easy to make work. How are you figuring out like what to whittle down? Are you kind of narrowing in on like, this is what I want? I want these many stacks, these many teams. I know you like to just sort of X out some teams and say, you know what, I'm just not going to play any Rays today. And that's that. What's your 30,000 foot view as far as a slate before you fully dive in?
Well, first of all, hello, Will. How you doing, man?
Man, listen. So such massive frustration. Like when you're right around the corner from your house and there's an accident, and then they take you like all the way around the other way, and everybody's, listen. I don't have the same schedule as other people. You know what I'm saying? My work starts now. Everybody else is going home, and they're all filtering in past my neighborhood. Like, come on, people! Like, we got to get better here. And not only was it an accident, they had the whole road shut down. So I couldn't take the shortcuts. I mean, it's just awful. Like, can a brother just go out and get a bite to eat and come back home? You know what I mean?
Where were you going? What were you getting?
Take a guess, Dino.
Chick-fil-A.
Oh, I guess that's a good guess. Man, listen, they got these good sandwiches at Zaxby's now, man. That club sandwich.
Zaxby's. I got a Zaxby's opening up down the street. I'm interested.
I thought that was only in the South, Zaxby's.
Yeah, that new club sandwich, man. Zax sauce, cheese, bacon. It's good.
Did you eat while you were like stopped in traffic?
I finished the fries.
Cleveland.
Sorry, I didn't mean to come on and be so give such a depressing story, but I like to come on.
Oh, we're all about the depression today, Will. I had a rough weekend. Let's just pile it on, and then we start fresh.
Yeah, man. At any rate, thanks for hanging out, everybody, and Steve, Devin, Dan, the whole crew. I'm so sorry I made it in after kickoff. But hopefully we can help these people make some money. I see Dean's got the sports almanac going, got that fired up for us today. So
my buddy Biff hooked me up. You just a heads up. You got to stay 20 minutes after. You got to stay 20 minutes in the crunch time. You're cool with that, right?
I'm always cool to hang out with the crunch time crew.
I'm just making this up. I don't know.
I know.
Guardians lineup just came out. Kind of important. And that's a game going down in Coors. Straw, Rosario, Ramirez, Gonzalez, Miller, Naylor, Clement, Mercado, and Male is the lineup today for Cleveland. 6 total, I believe, there in Coors. Well, I threw the question to you first, Chop, and then I'll throw Will the question as well as far as this slate, because, again, we have aces. We have awesome offenses. It's not hard to get them both. There's a lot of cheap stuff to make stuff work. So what's the view here? And, of course, baseball, heavy variance, goofy stuff can happen, but are we just cutting a lot of things out here, Chop?
Yeah, I like to do that anyway, but especially on a slate like tonight, it seems to me like I don't think I've ever seen a divide like this before, Dean, where if I go to a lineup if I go to the team totals on RG and I split it and I sort it by projected runs, you got the top half is all above, like right around 4 or well above. There's one team right around 4, and everybody else is well above 4 runs projected. And then you go to the bottom half, and it's a significant drop off. let me see here. Yeah, man, like it's pretty massive, right? Like, right around 5 runs. Like, I don't know. Am I seeing that right? Yeah, 5 runs. Right around 5 runs for
What are
St.
you looking
Louis.
at right now? Lineup HQ? What do you
I
pulled up?
don't know. I got my Excel back up, so I got my Excel sheet on one side and the lineup side. The lineup HQ threw me off, but like St. Louis is at 4.8, 4.9, depending on where you look at it, and everybody else 5 or better. And then the next team after St. Louis is Oakland at 4, Milwaukee at 4, like 5 and above on one half, and the other half is 4 or below. Never seen that big of a gap right there, right in the middle. That tells me right there. Now, not everybody has to do this, and this isn't, like the be-all, end-all way. But I'll take the teams that are 4 and below. Those 9 teams are completely off the board for me for hitting. I don't want any. I'll X them all out, and then I'll leave and play the other 9 that are right around 5 or more, and play around with that. And so, yeah, there is a big divide, and that goes to your point. That's what makes it feel bigger, because you have a whole half of this slate that is in play for hitting, and a whole half of the slate, the entire other half is in play for pitching. So it makes it feel bigger than it was, bigger than it really is. And before we turn it over to Will, Dean, I want to give one more shout out to Martin Maldonado today, who's the only catcher in history today. He made history today, Dean. Only catcher ever to catch 2 immaculate innings from 2 different pitchers in the same game.
I think I saw a note that the same 3 guys were struck out too. Is that not correct?
Oh, that would be incredible. I don't know if that happened.
Even better stat, Chop. Even better if it's the same 3 bats.
That might be a Chop fact.
Dean might be making that up.
I feel like that actually happened though. I feel like I saw somebody say it's the same batters.
I'm gonna have to dig into that one, but nonetheless, Dean, history is history.
Does Maldonado get credit for that, or we're not talking about the pitcher?
Well, of course the pitchers get credit for the strikeouts, Dean, but it's just, you know what I'm saying?
And by the way, just to follow up, you're talking about X and those teams, and I hear you, but what about like the Angels, who have a 3.5 team total? That's paltry. That's on the X button, right? And what if I'm hearing you correctly? But they also have, Mike Trout, and they have Shohei Ohtani. And if you're running 50 lineups or 100 lineups, you're just going to X those guys out? You can.
I'll go back. I'll go back in the pool after I X them all out now. I'll sort through these guys and see if there's anybody as a complete one-off that I might want to keep in there. And in this case, maybe a Trout might stick around, in that situation. Maybe like, I don't know who else, somebody from Milwaukee who's pretty decent against left-handers might stick around as a one-off, but yeah, that's about it. 1 or 2
Aaron
maximum.
Judge. Like, look at the Yankees have a 3-7 total against McClanahan. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
I love McClanahan too, but like, are we just not playing him if we're running a bunch of lineups? I don't know.
He might be like a guy that makes it, but it's a tough call on guys like that. But the point being, Dean, is like you X those things out because I don't want more than 1 or 2 hitters from any of those teams anyway. So I can X them out and then go back and play around with, add a one-off here or there, maybe the best one-off. But then there are certain spots that like I don't want an Oakland hitter. I don't want Baltimore is a little bit tricky. There's a couple guys in there that are interesting, but I kind of don't want them because Berrios, spoiler alert, that's my favorite pitcher tonight.
One of my favorites. This is a good segue to talk to Chief on the prize picks. I saw Berrios at like 92.5 total pitches. You can bet total pitches over there, and he was in a 10-0 game last time and had the bases loaded, and they let him finish the outing in like the 7th or 8th inning. I think it was the 7th. They let him close 7, and he threw like 105 pitches. I thought that number is too low. I don't know what's going on in your prop shop today. I don't know if you guys talked about Berrios. I like him over for K's at 5.5 as well. You can only bet one of those in your parlays, but I got over Berrios pitches at 92.5. What do you think?
I think it's good.
Okay.
If he's gonna, here's the thing, Dean, because see, throughout the season, it's been all over the place. Like he's actually gone under 92.5 more than he's gone over, and so it's one of those lines where, for me, 102 pitches is a lot for him. So 102 pitches for him is like 119 pitches for Tyler Mahle yesterday, right? Like Tyler Mahle typically goes over 100 now, but pushing him to 119 is like getting to like the end of the road for him, I think. And so for me, and I said this in the prop shop last night, it was pretty late. I said, hey, Tyler Mahle went 119 pitches. I'm taking unders on him in everything next start, or I'm just not going to play him, right?
You see that sometimes, yeah.
Right. Same thing with Jordan Lyles earlier this season when he was facing the Yankees and the bullpen had been so taxed. I think he went, 100-something pitches. And the next start, you see him come out and just flop. I'm not saying Jose Barrios is going to do that against Baltimore because it's just 102 pitches. But I think for me, it's a stay away. I definitely get it, though. But Jose Barrios could easily go out there and throw 90 pitches tonight, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Carty's got him projected right now at 95 for what it's worth, and the bat. Check out the bat. Hey, Will, pitchers today, right? We got Nestor Cortez against Tampa, kind of a pitcher's
nasty Nestor.
Yes.
Speaking, Dean, Chief, speaking of nasty, we haven't had you on in a while. I haven't talked to you in a while. What do you think of Dean's mustache?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God. I can barely even see it. That means it's real bad.
Does it remind you of a couple years ago, Antonio Brown caterpillar?
Yo, stop, Dean. You got to get rid of it. You cannot be the Antonio Brown of DFS.
Is that a bad thing to be?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Dean, so here's the thing. I thought I saw a mustache, but I thought mine was playing. I was like, no. That's not a stash. I thought maybe you just shaved too close or something, but that's an actual mustache growing on your face.
I'm just kind of committed to the bit now. It's a whole thing where it's going to be.
Okay, now I can see it better. So this is a real thing. Dean, I must say, if the stash was darker, I think you could pass as Andy Reid. We got to get you a notebook.
Nobody's ever walked into the barbershop and gave me the Andy Reid. Has that ever happened before?
You've got to be the new Andy Reid because there's a guy that he comes on ESPN every year when he has Monday Night Football and they highlight him. Dean, you could be the highlight of Monday Night Football.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Just get you a red turtleneck.
Dean, you got your Halloween costume already made for you.
There you go, man.
Andy freaking Reid. Wow. Dean, I didn't know this show was going to head there, but I'm glad it did. Thank you, Chop.
We might hit up some Just for Men and see how it works. Get a sponsorship deal for the show before we turn it over to crunch time. We'll see how that goes down. But
well, we already had one before with the lawnmower shaving company.
Yeah. But they're on like 5.0 now. How bad were the original ones? Like, they just not improving them and just like naming them so you rebuy them.
They were still in beta like Top Shot.
Like, how bad was the lawnmower? What was it called? What's the name of the term? You know this, Chop. You had a couple of these, right?
Yeah. What is it?
The lawnmower like 2.0 or something? The lawn something. Somebody in chat will know.
Somebody, yeah. Kirk knows. He's got a couple of them.
He's got a couple of those, yeah, for sure. All right. Will, we have Cortez facing off against Tampa. Tampa, without their two best hitters, probably, I guess Wander Franco and Lau was their two best hitters. I think so. Sure, why not? But this lineup they're rolling out today is pretty contact heavy, which is kind of different from what they're used to. And Cortez still pretty pricey. Barrios is 8.9 on DK. Burns, not as consistent as he was last year. He's also facing a Met team that's not as strikeout heavy as you want him to be. McClanahan against a Yankee team that sure will strike out plenty. They have plenty of power too. McClanahan, you could argue is the best pitcher in all of baseball right now. If you look at Sierra, he's the best pitcher in all of baseball by 0.5. Like he's the next guy's got like a 2.7 Sierra. He's got a 2.2 Sierra. His K rate is at 35%. 11 of his 12 starts this year, every single one but one, he struck out at least 7 dudes. That's why I bet over 6.5 on Prize Picks. I did pair those two things together. If you want to tell me. McClanahan's pricey, though. He's the most expensive guy on Fanduel, most expensive guy on DK. It's not that hard to get him, again, because a lot of good bats, at least well-positioned bats, are pretty cheap. So your general thoughts here, Will, as far as pitchers. Of course, on DK, you got a roster 2 Ownership-wise, we're seeing it pretty condensed. Basically, Cortez, Barrios, Burns, McClanahan, all within 28 and 33%. Let me just sort of rank that. Is there anybody else I'm missing? Because I have it ranked by points. Barrios at 38, Cortez 33, Burns 30, McClanahan 28, and then Strider, the cheapie for Atlanta. He's been wild. You probably know about him. He's on your team. And, the K's have been electric, but Washington, again, not a great offense, but they are not the best strikeout opponent. How are you attacking pitchers tonight?
Well, I mean, it seems like McClanahan is going to be leading the way. I definitely think he's got some of the highest upside. To me, all the cheaper pitchers that I may have invested in tonight, and I hate to just hop off McClanahan. I am going to talk about him because I do see him on the screen there. But Ronzi Contreras and Strider and all these others, they're in bad matchups, right? So I'm just not as interested. For me, McClanahan's definitely, I think, the guy overall. And there are going to be some other pitchers that get there, and I understand that. But I do feel like the path to the most upside straight up is him. And that doesn't mean he's not going to give up a run or somebody's not going to make contact. It doesn't mean that. But I think there are enough strikeouts in the Yankees lineup for him to get there. And even some of the lower K guys, if he can get, like if you can strike out an Anthony Rizzo once and a Gleyber Torres once, like that's only going to help you, because
Stanton
you're going to get
times?
Judge. What's that?
Stanton 3 times?
Well, maybe not 3 times. And Judge is even at 33% right now. So you're going to get Judge once. You're going to get Stanton once, I think. He'll probably get Donaldson once or twice. So he's probably got, I would say, just his first time through the order, probably 4 Ks chop? What would you say? He's probably got 4 Ks his first time through the order. 4 Ks in 3 innings.
Yeah, 4 Ks, 3 innings.
So I'm in. And that's that. So he's kind of the top guy. I am in agreement. I do think Barrios is a really good tournament play. I don't trust the strikeouts, but I do trust him to get the job done. I feel like he could go 7 innings, 5 Ks with ease here. So if I definitely think he's in play. Corbin Burns to me is the interesting one because it does seem like he's fallen off a little bit this season, right? But then you look at his numbers and you say, well, he's at a 31.8% K rate and a 3.31 xFIP and a 5.9% walk rate. Why are we not playing him today? Well, the matchup's just bad. So if the matchup isn't as bad, if he's facing Baltimore today, he's probably the top pitcher on the slate. The problem is he's facing the Mets, who aren't striking out a lot, and he's still got the juice. It's just the matchup is bad. So in terms of my guys, I think it's McClanahan and it's Barrios for me. And then I'm also willing to go with a slightly overpriced Tyler Anderson. I know it didn't work out against the White Sox, but the Angels are not the White Sox. This team does strike out quite a bit. And so while Tyler Anderson doesn't have a 30% K rate, I'm okay with that. It's at 23%, and there are enough strikeouts in this lineup to where Tyler Anderson could, be serviceable and pick up 25 fantasy points tonight. And I don't think we'd be completely surprised. So he's on my sneaky list of pitchers that I don't think is going to get a whole lot of ownership because he does feel overpriced, but he has been pretty good this season.
Rendon also left last night's game. Lineup not out just yet for the Angels, but my best guess is he probably wouldn't play tonight, but we'll see. I haven't seen anything official on that. He would certainly make that lineup a little bit better. He's been mostly out of that lineup this season due to injuries, it seems like. Chop on FanDuel. McClanahan's the most expensive guy. He's 11.4, but then you get 2.9 per stick, right? 2.9, 29.50 if you want to get all technical. But again, it's not hard to make a lineup you like with that because there's so many cheap hitters that are, for starters, Justin Wrigley, right? And everybody else sees that too. So that's kind of an obvious path to go. Are you having problems making McClanahan work on FanDuel? I'm guessing not.
No, it's easy. It's easy, Dean. It's
Yeah.
easy to get an expensive pitcher on most nights, much less a night with all this offense. You'll be fine. So if that's your guy, you got to roll with it. Like I said, I'm personally on Barrios a little bit more than that, but I'd put McClanahan probably second on my list if we're going that route. So the Yankees can be tough, but they can also strike out a lot. So I like the matchup with Barrios a little bit more, though.
Yeah, and I think you're supposed to get some burns in tournaments. I know the matchup's not great. The ballpark's good. That's a good ballpark to pitch in there. Met Stadium, probably like top 7 or so, pitcher friendly if you're going to kind of power rank them. But again, not a lot of Ks there. McNeil is annoying, 11.6% as far as striking out versus righties since last season, over 400 bats. Yerbay's in the lineup, 11% as far as his contact.
Let me interject real quick, Dean.
Go ahead.
And I get it. I get all those numbers. But from a contrarian point of view, I'll say this, and I don't believe in all this because some of it's a little bit, misleading. Like Kirk Deese tells me all the time, it's misleading. But if you do believe in this kind of stuff, the pitch he most often throws and one of the most used pitches in all of baseball is his cutter, which is extremely good, which is one of the better pitches out there. And he uses it a lot. And the heart of that Mets order struggles with the cutter. So he can throw it well. So if you're into that kind of thing, you can maybe you could take advantage of it. Maybe it's a Burns night. I don't know.
Well, do you have a thought on that? Because again, not all cutters are the same, obviously. And sometimes even the way to define cutter, depending on who you ask, right? But I don't get into all that. And a lot of that stuff is small sample as well. But there's probably something to it. And sometimes it's probably not. And I know all this data, he's probably looking into I presume he's looking at the plate IQ stuff. And I know Will does that as well. Do you see what Chop is talking about as far as Burns and his cutter versus this Mets lineup?
I do now. And Chop, I want to thank you for hitting us with that info. I think it's important. And let me just say, this is why plate IQ is such a genius tool, right? Because, you look at the surface numbers and clearly we know, like I talked about before, nothing's really wrong with Corbin Burns. He's got 31.9% K rate, 3.31 xFIP, 5.9% walk rate. But it just looks as if the Mets aren't striking out a lot. But see, Chop, this is why Chop wins $1 million at least 2 or 3 times a year. Chop doesn't settle for the status quo. Chop says, let me go a little deeper on this thing. And then you look and you say, well, yeah, he's throwing the cutter. They're not really hitting it well. Contact numbers, only a couple guys above 80%. The whiff rates are, sitting around the 20s. Looks like we may have a winner here. And, he could very well, even if he doesn't have an 8 strikeout night, like if things go well for a pitcher like him, he could possibly go 8 innings, 6 Ks. And now the upside is starting to push even more. So I'm with that. I can get on some Corbin Burns cutter action for sure.
It's been a while since you've seen earlier in the year, he had a 10 strikeout game, an 11 strikeout game, and a 10 strikeout game back to back to back. And we saw 8 before, last time out, 6 before that, 11 before that. So it just kind of comes and goes, it seems. Ks have been still good. I do think that that ownership on DK is, a little bit high. What we're projecting at right now. Well, what do you think, Will? We have it projected, I think, at 30%. Let me give it a refresh. Seems like a pretty big number. Fanduel, it's lower, obviously. Yeah, almost 31% on DK. On Fanduel, we have Burns at, I believe, like 13 or 14. Let me check and see what it was. Yeah, 13.8. I feel better about the Fanduel price than the DK price is kind of what I'm saying. When you consider ownership.
Yeah, I can dig it for sure.
What about Strider? You want to talk about your Brave?
I don't think this is a good matchup for Strider. Excuse me. He did have a really, really good outing the last time, but guess who he was facing, Dean? You want to take a guess? The Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm not going to overvalue his matchup with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Let's look at some other teams that he's faced that have been marginally good. Arizona Diamondbacks aren't great, but they're a more patient team. And what we saw was he was able to get the Ks, but the walks were there, ran the pitch gun up a little. He wasn't pitching as much then. Went on out to Colorado, did get 5 Ks, but he walked 5 guys. And then today he gets a matchup with Washington. And Spencer Strider, if I'm not mistaken, Dean, this is right off the top of my head, I'm ballparking it here. I think his K rate's around 12%. Trust me, he will walk some guys today. This is guaranteed. So I think he walks 3 bats, and that might be one too many. I'm not saying he won't get any Ks. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying at 7,700, is it worth it for me to play him over Jose Barrios today? I don't think so. And so I'm just going to I would be avoiding him at that price or at this against this team, because Washington, I know that Max Fried went out there last night and just kind of struck out the first 5 bats, but that means nothing. The Washington team, while they're not hitting a bunch of home runs, they're not striking out. So I just he'll have some strikeouts, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And I could be wrong, but if he gets a little wild, I think it's game over. Love the K rate though at 36.8. I don't want to overlook that. I'm just not. I'd rather play Barrios. I think Barrios has more upside.
Padres lineup just came out. Profar leading off today. Grisham down to the 9-hole. Profar, Cronenworth, Machado, Voigt, Hosmer, Alfaro, Mazzara, and like all these guys are like 2K. It's ridiculous. Grisham's like 2.6. Mazzara is 2K on DK. Voigt is like 2.6. Hosmer's he's like 3.6. Hosmer's like 2.5. They're all pretty cheap on FanDuel as well. And again, they have a 16 total. Hey, Chop, what do you think Juan Soto's walk percentage is versus righties since last season? It's a ridiculous number.
Walk rate versus righties since last season. So yeah. I don't know, and I'm not looking it up. But judging by your excitement in the question,
I'm framing it.
I'm going to say 18%.
24.5%.
I was thinking 18 too, Chop. 24, that's incredible, Dean.
That's a lot.
So, can I bet on Strider walking Soto tonight? Can I make that wager somewhere?
I already told you. I'm thinking he gets. So look, I can't remember if Strider's on walks for prize picks tonight. If he's at 1.5, take the over. If he's at 2, take the over. If he's at 2.5, I would still take the over. No, I would still take the over today. Seriously.
I would take over 1.5, 2 probably, because maybe you push, right? But
Nah, I don't listen. So here's how I play it, Dean. If I'm taking the over at 2, I'm already planning on to get 3. So give me my 2.5. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Just want to see Carty's got walks projected.
And I just want to say that Luis Castillo picking up that 6K in the 7th inning. Oh man. That just took me into a beautiful, beautiful place heading into evening MLB. Let me tell you.
Is the prop shop having a good time? Are they all celebrating?
Oh, it's a good time now.
The people, there's like 5 people that are watching that have no idea what it is. Tell the people what it is. Give them the quick sales pitch.
Prop shop is a place where you can come in, join the joint sweat. Typically what we do is we will post plays. I will post plays. I do have alerts set up so that you can get the plays if you're subscribed. But not only there are other people in the prop shop that post as well. Stevie will come in and post from time to time. Britt Devine will come in and post from time to time. We've got KK Darmus. A lot of times he will post CSGO and esports. Trip, my man, will post for tennis, esports, LOL. Jay Rellis and Internet Famous, along with some other guys, will post for hockey, especially the playoffs. I'm trying not to leave out everybody. Oh, Tate 524 will post for MLB playoff NBA. Excuse me.
In a second.
But anyway, there's a lot of guys in here. And guys, if I my boy A. Gary will post for NASCAR, soccer. Watch out will post for NASCAR. We'll post for soccer. Trip will post for soccer. My boy Gallant 1997 will post for soccer.
Will Smith's coming up for you.
Crunch time is coming up in a second.
Look, here's the deal. I mean, it's a lot of good people in there, and it's way different from any other Discord you're going to find out there for the prop game. And you can ask anybody that comes through the virtual doors of the prop shop. They want to be there. We keep it clean mostly, and we try to help everybody win money, and that's the name of the game, right? Like, I'm not competing against you. I'm competing with you, because if you put it out and we tail, we want to win. Oh, don't let me forget about my boy. It's Orange, baby. Posted for WNBA. Listen, I'm telling. But here's the thing, right? We got all these things going. When you start making combination cards, Dean, that's where it gets interesting, right? Because you can take the top play from NBA, the top play from hockey. My boy Chet is posted for MLB and golf. Denocula posts for golf. So when you start putting all these combinations together, Dean, it exponentially helps you increase your ROI. That's the beauty of this thing, right? When you can combine different, I'm telling you, best place on earth, man. Come get in the prop shop. You won't help me. You won't get a sales pitch out of me like that for a while. But thanks, Dean, for the opportunity.
Dean.
Yeah.
Speaking of ROI.
Yeah.
Some news just came up, Dean.
What just came up?
We were just talking about Spencer Strider.
Yeah.
Juan Soto is not in the lineup, so that exponentially helps Strider.
Okay, so he's like, I know he didn't play last night also. He's officially hurt. I didn't realize that. I just missed that. Or is he he's not playing. He's not starting. So, okay. Is that you got to upgrade him a little bit for sure. I don't know who's starting in his place, but somebody not as good, obviously.
Oh, yeah. That definitely helps Strider, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Thomas, Hernandez, Cruz, Bell, Ruiz, Hernandez, Franco, Garcia, and Robles. I think Robles is a strikeout guy, if I'm not mistaken. We'll fire the play IQ usually adjusted shortly. By the way, Chief, you said all that, and I don't even know if you told people exactly where to go. The Rotogrinders Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. Some of these channels are premium. Some of these channels are free. Chief is a man of the people, so his prop shop, it's right at the top. It's featured. Chief's prop shop is free. Go in there and hang out. Also free is the live stream chat channel. And why did I tell you that, guys? Because, you just click the party popper in there, and you got yourself a chance to win 1 week free of RG Premium, all the goods, all the sports, everything with the exception of NASCAR, but everything else, all the tools, everything we're referencing. You got Dave Potts' article. You got all the projections, all the rankings, the expert surveys. As of right now, there's just 12 people that clicked on it, right? 12. And 2 people are going to win. So, Chop, by my math, that's like, I don't know, a 17% chance to win, give or take. Is that right?
That's big time. That's big time. Get it.
Yeah, so go ahead and jump in the Discord channel again, rotogrinders.com/Discord. I believe it's in the YouTube chat as well. You can, if we're not saying it clear enough, feel free to check that out in the old YouTube. Also, if you guys are watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, hit those notifications as well. What else should we talk about as far as pitchers, Chop? Let me ask you this. You got Cortez or Burns? If you're just going to rank one or the other, who do you got?
Burns. I didn't get to talk about Cortez very much, but I saw some numbers last week that were red flags on Cortez and coming back down to earth here eventually. And if I'm not mistaken, he had a rough outing last time out. So I'm holding off on Cortez until I don't know. I just don't believe in him. So I'll probably get burned throughout the course of the year from here on out. But I think he's going to fall back down to earth pretty quickly. So I want Burns.
Oh, man, you don't believe in the power of the stash. I hear you.
Let me just say, Dean, sorry, not having Juan Soto in this lineup, I might change my stance on Strider here. Like, I'm almost tempted right now to go in. I still think he's going to walk two bats. I won't give him 3 now. I still think he walks 2 for sure. But I'm going to look at his K prop and see where it is. Like, I think I trust him to get the Ks now. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but Juan Soto being out of his lineup is, I think, a big deal. He's sitting at 5.5. I mean, I think it'll be close, but I think I'd give him 6 Ks at this point.
Robles, 25% K guy. Thomas, 27% K guy. Hernandez, Cruz, around 20 or so. There are some contact guys as well besides that. And not a lot of walk guys besides Thomas, like Bell at 9%, Thomas at 10, but otherwise, not a lot of patience. 7.4% collectively as far as walking versus righties since 2021. And, of course, Strider, the Ks are awesome, 34.8%, but walks are his issue at 12.2%. I don't think there's any extremes as far as umpires. People like the umpire data. Let me just confirm. Firing up the old lineup HQ, seeing if we have any extreme pitchers umpires, extreme hitters umpires. That sometimes can be like a tiebreaker for some people. I can hear you. Actually, we do. We have 1 extreme hitters umpire and that's for Corbin Burns. I think he can still play him, though. Just, and Peterson on the other side, obviously. Chop, I guess you don't care, right? He's either on or he's not, and that's that?
Yeah, pretty much. I do take some of that, umpire stuff into consideration, but I'm still gonna play a little bit of Burns, but it matters. It for sure matters, especially if that one guy's reffing a basketball game. We know he's gonna screw Chris Paul out. So, but that's about all I can think of.
I'm trying to see if there's anybody we did not mention in the chat. Just sort of like they're talking about all sorts of different things, but I think we had on pretty much every single pitcher. That's really well. Okay, you could talk about the Boston pitcher. That's like 5K on DKs and SB2, and he's okay in the minors, like decent Ks, ground ball guy, and he's facing Oakland and he's 5K. So I think you can play him. Like, just what else you need to know? We have no idea what we're getting, but if you're running a bunch of lineups, whatever. And if you want all the bats in the world, sure, I'm okay with it. Otherwise, or if you have a thought, Will, by all means, as far as the pitcher for Boston today, but what's left to say as far as pitchers, or give me the summary?
Man, play the big guys, play McClanahan. Barrios may not be a big K guy, but he's got a good matchup. Play him. I still like Tyler Anderson today, so I'm in on him. Chop has absolutely sold me on Corbin Burns in terms of making sure I get him in lineups. Like, I was already interested. Like, I had intentions of, understanding he was a tournament play, but Chop, man, with the cutter, backdoor cutter info has absolutely sold me. So I think he's in play. And now that Juan Soto is not in the Washington Nationals lineup, I feel a little bit better about Mr. Strider because I think, at least 2 of his walks are gone. So perhaps he can strike out one extra bat, and that one extra bat could be the difference between, on FanDuel, 43 points and 40, and on DK, 25 and 23 or whatever. So I'm in on Mr. Strider now that Juan Soto is out. I think it definitely hurts their ability to score runs in this game.
Somebody asked about Jack Flaherty in chat. This will be his first start of the season. He maxed out, I believe, at 58 pitches in his rehab stuff. They're talking about maybe 60 or so pitches tonight. No chance. It's a good matchup. Like, he was once really good at baseball. I have no idea what he's going to be tonight, but like, if he's not going to throw more than, 65, 70 pitches, and they're basically charging me full price, no shot. I'm rostering him. Chop, if you feel otherwise, by all means, go for it. Otherwise, give me your summary for pitchers.
Summary for pitchers, it's half and half. Half are playable, half are absolutely not playable, and then from there I'll narrow it down. And summary of pitchers for me goes Barrios, McClanahan, and I am absolutely not scared to take chances on the other guys that people might not want. I'm hearing a lot, like in chat, every comment pops up says Burns sucks. Okay, well, if it's going to reflect in his ownership, I'm okay with Burns. I'm okay with Spencer Strider taking some chances in GPP, and I'm okay with the ball.
Burns sucks. You're saying Burns sucks in chat? That's a terrible take.
Yeah, that's what I mean, I haven't seen one person come up and say, yeah, Burns is really good. Good call, except for Chief. But I mean, yeah, everybody else is.
I'm here too. I like him. I don't know if I like him at 30%. That's what we're rejecting.
I just don't see how it's going to be 30. At least I'm playing on FanDuel. I know it's not going to. There's no way it's going to be 30. But the Boston kid, he's cheap. I can go that route. So yeah, I like a variety of these guys. Bottom line, I'm taking some chances. When Barrios is your number one guy, you're taking some chances.
Esteban in chat says that Burns is as bad as my stash. Man, that's harsh. That's harsh.
I don't know though, Chop. It might not be taking as much of a chance as you think tonight, man. I mean, facing Baltimore, which I'm not trying to like go back down the pitching rabbit hole, but I like it. I like it.
Oh, come on, Eric. You can't be serious. Asking about Weathers versus the Cubs. Like, there's no planet where I'm rostering Weathers. Like, I'm all for being different and goofy in tournaments. Like, in baseball, you really can play whoever you want. You can fire up the old blender thought process. But, man, I am not playing Weathers. Not happening. No chance.
But, Chad, what I will say, caution for Barrios is he will see enough lefties to give him some trouble today. But Baltimore, man, these K rates, my God.
Will, favorite stacks
up, Dean?
tonight? What?
I said, what's up, Dean?
What's going on? Let's talk about some sticks. Favorite bats tonight. If you pull up our consensus rankings as far as stacks, team, we're looking at the Cubs number 1, Cleveland number 2, San Diego, Toronto, Colorado, Atlanta, the Dodgers, Boston. All those are good. They're all good, and this is kind of what the Chop's point. Like, it's very clear, like the haves and the have-nots, and it's baseball. Weird stuff can happen, but there are great pivots away from what you're going to see. I think a ton of chalk in Wrigley. I think that's going to be the most popular stuff, especially when you consider the prices on those Padres and the Cubbies. Do you have favorite teams? Do you agree with that list? Chicago, Cleveland, San Diego, Toronto, Colorado, Atlanta. Is somebody we're missing? Is there somebody too low? Is there somebody too high?
No, I think that's pretty much spot on. I will say I do like the Atlanta Braves tonight. While they've been striking out, what I like, Dean, is now they're actually starting to score runs as well. Like, if you're going to strike out and not score runs, it's going to be very frustrating. If you're going to strike out but score 9 and 10 runs a night, now we're getting somewhere, and I think they can definitely do that against Eric Fedde. I'm going to be a homer today. Really like the Atlanta Braves. I also really like the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. Really excited about them against Zimmerman. They've been a team that they've struck out, had their fair share of strikeouts as well. But Dean, against lefties, Springer 18%, Bo Bichette 26, Vlad Guerrero 5.7. I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. Home run call of the night. Let's go first at bat. It's going out of the park. Love Vlad tonight. 310 ISO, 416 WOBA, 17.1% walk rate. Let me clarify. Let me say, I think he hits a home run his first at bat unless he gets walked intentionally or unintentionally. Let's go with that. Also, Mr. Espinal. He's on the list as well, and especially because these guys are going to be getting primarily fastball. Now, he will try to strike these guys out with the slider, but I think the Toronto Blue Jays are big time in play. Espinal he's only had 3 batted ball events here, Dean. Okay, would you like to guess what his hard hit percentage is on this 89 mile per hour fastball? Just take a 100%. Stab. Yeah, it's 100. I guess you looked at it earlier today. No way you guessed that right the first time. But Vlad, once again, 100% contact rate, 66% hard hit rate, 644 WOBA, average hit distance of 380. Really like those 2 bats tonight. I think they should have a good day at the plate. And then also in terms of stacks, I'm not going to give you the obvious stacks. I'm going to go off the wall a little bit here and head on down to St. Louis. And this is more of a weather edge play, but it is suggesting that the ball is going to be flying tonight. And so I think this is a spot where St. Louis has been a good team. They got some good bats. Roansy Contreras has been a very good young pitcher early to start, but I don't think he's quite ready for St. Louis here. They're probably going to pull him early anyway. Really like the St. Louis Cardinals at very low ownership. I think they've got equal opportunity with any other team out there to run the score up, even though they just ran it up last night.
Yeah, we got fire emoji. You talk about the weather edge, chief mineralogist Kevin Roth, weather edge tool. You guys get that a part of premium. Red fire emoji in St. Louis, 94 degrees, 11 mile per hour wind blowing out toward left field. 37 games previously, a 33% bump in homers, 27% bump in runs. Not a historically great ballpark as far as what it typically is, but you're definitely getting a boost. With the weather currently. Slight bump in for the Mets. It's not a big sample, so I'm not ready to freak out about that one, but just kind of noteworthy. And I think the Cubs actually are registering like in 3 games, but whatever. I'm not going to acknowledge that. Just acknowledge the red fire emoji going down in Chicago, 90 degrees, 23 miles per hour, wind blowing out towards left field. And I think Atlanta, one of the reasons they've been pummeling Washington because that fire emoji has been chasing them all around. They had the fire emoji in Atlanta, and now they've had the fire emoji in Washington the last few days. I feel like they've had like 11, 12 home runs just destroying this Washington team, despite the fact that Albie's out of that lineup. But they're pretty deep, too. Like, their 7, 8, 9 is pretty solid. Harris is good. Little speed, a little power combination. Duvall can always bang out a couple. Arcia is not horrendous for an 8-hitter. Contreras, good hitting catcher. 1 through 9, you can play all those guys in Atlanta. What do you think, Chop, as far as, you kind of touched on it before, but is there a stack or a team you're going to be well over, a stack you're going to be well under as far as the field? We're taking a stand or what?
Oh, Dean, I would say that, I'm going to play the Cubs. I'm not going to run away from that kind of a situation. So I'm going to play the Cubs. I don't know if I'll be well over, but I like the Cubs. I like, Toronto, Cleveland all seem fine. San Diego is in the mix. I do like Atlanta too against, Fetty. It's Fetty, right? Fetty?
Yeah. Fetty Wap.
Yeah. Fetty Flop. Fetty Flop is
Fetty Flop. That's it.
I just came up with a new one, Dean. Put that one on the list. Fetty Flop. Anyway, but if you're telling me over or under on somebody, I think the team I'll probably be most likely be under on by a pretty decent margin is Colorado. I'm gonna try to get under on Colorado at home. That's a big team total. I'm sure they're going to be popular, but I think there's maybe slight reason to be cautious there and not go overboard on Colorado because they're going to start off with Pilkington, who's been going 5 innings. Okay, so let's say he can get through 5 decent innings here against Colorado. He's going to turn it over to, by the numbers, a pretty decent bullpen. So and how can Pilkington get? Then you're going to ask me, how can he get through these? Well, if he gets lucky, he can get through it because his number one pitch and one of the best pitches, maybe in baseball, is his changeup. I don't think the changeup is necessarily that altered at the high C level. So, that's more breaking pitch type of stuff that gets messed up. The changeup should still play, and like his expected average against and all that other good stuff against that changeup it's minuscule. He gets a lot of swinging strikes on it. When they do put it in play, it's a massive ground ball pitch. So maybe he gets through his 5, really limits the damage to almost nothing, and then he turns it over to a pretty good bullpen. I think there's reason to believe that maybe Colorado is being overvalued tonight.
Did I hear you say that Pilkington might have the best changeup in baseball? Is that what I heard?
No, it's one of the better pitches, at least on this particular slate. It is one of, if not the best pitch on this slate. It is one of the better pitches. He hasn't been around enough to get a big sample size on it, but what he has thrown against major league pitchers, major league hitting this year has been awesome. He's got his batting average against and his weighted on base against that pitch is hardly nothing, and the expected numbers against that are even lower.
By the way, Sierra says that the active bullpen there for Cleveland is like 6th best in baseball. For what it's worth, you're talking about their bullpen being pretty good this season. Atlanta number 1.
I knew my spreadsheet wasn't lying to me. I knew it. Oh, I can trust this stuff. It's good stuff here, Dean.
Let's go around the horn, give our favorite plays position by position. Nola not playing for San Diego if you're looking at him. Contreras, you saw him bang out a couple yesterday. One, I think, literally left the yard. Batting second, 4-4 on DK. You play him on Fanduel for 3-1 or something like that. First base, he's part of that combination. Of course, he has a utility spot as well. And like yesterday, first base, talk about it being loaded. It's going to be, first base, especially when you had a couple catchers on Fanduel, going to be tricky. But, you really can't miss on these spots. Kirk is really cheap on Fanduel in that Toronto lineup, batting cleanup, perfectly fine. But, your favorite catchers tonight, Will, like Contreras is going to be the clear most popular. The Cubs are rostering 2 today. And Gomes, actually, are they playing 3 catchers? I think they have 3 catchers today, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. And look, and Contreras is 4,400 on DK. That's well within the range of where we want to play him. If you hop on over to FanDuel, Dean, he's even cheaper than that. He's 3,400. I think you get him in, you don't think twice about it. And I think, in terms of, I don't play cash anymore, but in terms of cash, that's probably the direction you're going to head. Also, though, at catcher, this guy's going to be very expensive on DK, but I don't care, and that's Alejandro Kirk. I think he's in play, and I think he's good leverage off of guys in this win game. I think he's got just as good of a shot as anybody else. to send it out of the park, and then you go over on FanDuel, Dean, he's 2,800. Like, in my opinion, it's an equal spot outside of the weather. Got a lot of guys in front of him that have some get-on-base potential. Springer, Bichette, Vlad, and he's hitting cleanup. Imagine if one of these guys get walked, the other one hits a single, he's got a man on first and third, he hits a bomb. Well, guess what? We're locked and loaded, ready to go to try to help ourselves win a tournament. So he is overpriced on DK. I don't care. I'd be willing to pay up to be contrarian in that spot. Those are some of my favorite catches, although probably fairly chalky outside of Alejandro Kirk.
We had the contest. We talked about it. 1 week free of RG Premium in the Rotogrinders Discord. We got the winners. Shout out to Double M Squared and Monster01. You each won yourself 1 week free of RG Rotogrinders Combo Premium. Producer Devin will be contacting you shortly in the old Discord. Chop, what do you have to add as far as catcher?
I would say that catchers, like the man called out, the same guys I was like. Contreras is almost a lock and load at that position. I mean, he's one of if not the top hitter on the entire slate, and he plays this position, and he plays this position of scarcity. So,
sure,
like, yeah, I don't. There's Will Smith. There's Alejandro Kirk, like Chief said. Those guys are fine, but especially on FanDuel, Contreras is only a few $100s more than those guys. So if you're absolutely going to punt this thing, like I'm either going to play Contreras. If I'm on DraftKings, I'm either playing Contreras or just punt it for me. Let me punt this thing, and that punt would maybe be Adley Rutschman going against Berrios, even though I like Berrios. That's the one guy hitting at a decent spot in the order that actually has some upside. So for me, it's Contreras or it's a punt.
Roof open in Toronto tonight. Dodger line just came out. Betts, Freeman, Trey Turner, Smith, Muncy, Justin Turner, Bellinger, Taylor, Lux. Pretty standard. Chop. I mean, okay, on DK, what's really difficult, Chop, is
what you got?
First base. Frank Schwindel, 2.7K. Ridiculous price. Just absurd. Eric Hosmer. I know nobody wants to roster Eric Hosmer, but 2.6K. Ridiculous price. Luke Voigt, 3.5K. Ridiculous price. And then if you want to spend up, you got some salary to play with. You got Crone at 4.6 versus Pilkington. You got Matt Olson in Washington versus Fetty at 4-ish. Vladdy, you got all the money in the world against Zimmerman. Almost a 6 total. First is loaded, and there's no utility spots. So it's just kind of whoever I land on, I think. I'm good with all those guys, and I'm sure I neglected some people too. Owen Miller, another first baseman, in cores. Who are your favorites tonight?
What position is this?
This is first.
Okay. Dean, I just need to address something in chat. They're giving me a hard time, Dean, I said I was just in passing. I was saying the changeup might work in Colorado because of the pitchers that are affected are breaking balls, and I said something about sea level. They're killing me in chat about the sea level, but I've Googled it real quick. It says, as you can see, all Colorado resides at or over 2,000 feet above sea level.
Yeah. Mile High City. It's not ironically named.
Yeah, so why are they giving me such a hard time in chat about that? I don't get it, Dean. It's unnerving for me.
I'm going to be there next month, Chop. I'll tell you all
about
about
me off my game. All right, Dean, send me a postcard. At first base, I'm going to start off with CJ Crone. Like him against a lefty is always going to be fine for me, so we'll give it a shot there. Like if this guy can mow through CJ Crone, he's going to have a good game. Pilkington, so we'll see how that plays out. But you mentioned it, Schwindel. Cleanup, you got to get some of that. We've already talked about Vlad as a home run threat. You got that. Luke Voigt on the other end of that Schwindel thing. Luke Voigt is a nice play. And I'll throw in Matt Olson because I do believe the Braves end up getting, I think I need to go update my expert survey, but I think my wild off-the-table prediction was that the Braves end up outscoring everybody in raw runs, not necessarily fantasy points because they're dip, but so I think the Braves do score some runs here, and Matt Olson's a part of it.
My prediction was outside of Wrigley and Coors, 2 teams will score at least 10 runs, and then I threw the Braves and Toronto being the most likely. That was my off the board. Hey, Chop, question in chat from Josh. And I don't know how to answer this question. Wisdom or Voigt? They're both really, really cheap, and they're both really well positioned. They're both good. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna be better. Couldn't tell you. One's gonna homer probably.
Well, hey, we haven't got to the second base yet, or whatever position Wisdom is on your site you're playing. But
What's his nickname again, Wisdom?
that's what Dean knows. Damn it, Dean! You're ruining my bit here, Dean. I was getting to it.
I was setting you up. That was an alley-oop,
No,
man.
you jumped and told the joke before I could get to it. You're
I
like
didn't say, no, I was
you're the
setting
guy
you
in the
up.
bar that jumps in and gives the punchline.
You're going for the alley-oop, and you're gonna
the
dunk
guy
it.
sets up the joke
brain.
for the next for the first 5 minutes. The guy sets up the joke. Then you're the guy who passes by and just jumps in and says the punchline. Dean, that's not nice. It's the tooth. We know it's the tooth. Dang, you ruined it, man. I won't get that.
Well,
I won't get that.
Chop, my alternate is Patty in the brain, Chop. That's my alternate.
It's the tooth.
Patty in the brain.
What are we gonna do tonight, Brain?
Yeah. We're gonna take over the world.
Same thing we do every night. So yeah, first base. Well, if you don't have anything to add, by all means, we've fallen behind somehow. And again, the Crunch Time crew, they're gonna go around the horn and knock it all out for everybody. And whatever we don't get to, they'll get to. And you got Andre, I see him in chat. He'll be a part of that conversation. DerekCarty will tell you what's popping in the bat. And then, of course, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth is going to tell you how ridiculous it is today as far as the winds in Wrigley. And, it's hot in St. Louis. It's hot in Washington. Do hit that like button, by the way. I don't know what. We haven't groveled enough. I'm not really sure where we're at. Andre, I know when he comes on, he's got his, I'll never remember this word. Like, it's a Batman-style projected home run guy. He's going to tell me in chat now, probably. But yeah, he'll give you his homer picks.
Dean, I'm going to buy into your Jose Barrios over 92.5 pitches, Dean. I'm going to buy into
it. There it is. Yes. Good.
I'm going to buy into it. Reason being is, no, I'm not going to buy into it.
Tell me the second baseman you like tonight. We got to go.
So on DK, I know it seems like I'm probably sticking to a trend, but my trend is I am spinning up to be different here. I really like Tommy Edman in this spot against Contreras. I don't have to sell you on Cronenworth, of course, in that matchup. Espinal. He's like my second home run call of the night from Toronto. Really like him. I think he's going to have a good day at the plate. And then now we're kind of getting down to the bottom of the barrel here. You got Tony Kemp at 27 if you need some salary relief. I do like to pick on pitchers when they first come back, even though it is the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Mr. Marcano at 2,500 leading off against Flaherty, I don't mind it. Just in case Flaherty's got a little rust, I don't mind taking a guy that could get a hit or two. And those are kind of the guys that I am interested in.
Chop, I know you're playing on Fanduel. Muncy is 2.7 over there, which, I know he hasn't been amazing this season, but 2.7 seems egregious. This is, again, how it's really, really easy to get, like, good pitchers and good hitters. That's one of the ways to get there. Your thoughts as far as second, Chop?
Yeah, some of the similar guys. Cronenworth, Brendan Rodgers is in a good spot tonight in the order. Owen Miller on the flip side of that for Cleveland, batting fifth. I don't mind that. And the one guy who I haven't heard yet, who I think is interesting, is Gleyber Torres. I know it's a really tough matchup. That's going to draw that ownership down to almost nothing. And he's just a good hitter. I think he's shown he's come back this year really well. And as far as your Max Muncy call, I didn't highlight Max Muncy. Lefty on lefty, I'm not there on Muncy yet, so I'm not pulling the trigger.
All right. Fair enough. And all right, third base. Chop, let's talk about this briefly because, man, it's especially in the single entry stuff and the 3-entry max stuff, ownership is really going to condense on Wisdom at 3.5. Ramirez at 6K. If you have a couple spend ups today, J-Ram is clearly one of the best hitters, going out there today. Machado, I think, is going to be higher than 8% owned. I refuse to believe that. I think that's going to change. Devers is awesome, and we haven't really talked about Boston, but Carpellian's not very good. I think Boston's one of the off the board, which seems kind of weird, kind of off the board stacks tonight. But besides that, like, nobody's getting played. And Zimmerman, like Chapman, like I like Chapman as like a 2%er, 4%er, whatever he is. It's just tough to get away from Wisdom at 3.5. That spectacular nickname, the brain. Use your brain to consider moving away from him because he's going to be heavily owned. But yeah, it's really, really good, and it's going to be condensed. And how you're handling third?
So basically, like you said, a lot of condensed ownership. I don't see a reason why you need to get crazy here. Like you can get you can get off of somebody else at another position and go better. I'll try to make it quick, but between Ramirez, Machado, Devers, and Patty the Tooth, if you think all those guys are going to have a poor game and that you're going to pick out the one guy, I don't buy that one. So I think you play one of these guys and hope you hit right, or play a combination of a percentage of it. But Patty the Tooth is the guy I'm gravitating to.
I like the call in chat from Josh. This is a night Riley hits 2 bombs. Yeah, like nobody's playing Austin Riley. It's just not happening because how strong third base is. And yeah, if you're stacking Atlanta, sure, but he's not going to be heavily owned at all. Shout out to Colson May in the chat. Won 1K last night. Good for him. Congratulations. Will, what do you have as far as third?
I mean, a lot of the same suspects, man. I think, we just kind of want to play the guys in the good spots. Devers, I think, is perfectly fine. Like Austin Riley today, like a lot of expensive guys. You can get Espinal at third as well. I don't have to sell you on Jose Ramirez at 6K and Coors. But once again, man, when you got Patrick Wisdom, Patty in the Brain down here at 3,500, I just can't avoid that. Like that's really good salary relief. I'm willing to eat the chalk on that one.
Shortstop, Amad Rosario's 4K in Coors tonight, which batting second, which again seems kind of goofy as far as the salary, as far as the asking price. On FanDuel, he's 2.9. I love Trey Turner if you have the salary as a spend up for Detmers, of course. Bichette, another nice spend up. If you want a flat out punt, Kim is in that Wrigley game. He's 2.3 on FanDuel. Story, for some reason, he's batting 6, which is just egregious. I don't know what Boston's doing at their lineups, but like why? I know what's his name was good yesterday to lead off the day, and now they have Duran leading off. He's got some speed, but like why are you burying Story behind all these guys? And Verdugo as well. Oh, whatever. I don't get it, but he's obviously still playable, but doesn't make any sense to me. Shortstop, Will, what do you have?
A lot of the same guys that you're gonna like, Dean. I like Dansby Swanson. I like Tommy Edman at short, which I know I talked about him at second. Can get him there. Bo Bichette at 5,700. You talked about Amer Rosario at 4K. I like him. Jose Iglesias at 3,700. In Coors, I think is another fine play as well. But that's mostly it for me.
Chop, you got anything to add anything kind of off the board? I think we kind of glossed over, didn't really feature it short. Or you want to just jump to the outfield?
Well, let's just jump to the outfield. Y'all named them all.
Let's get it.
All right, Chop, go for it. There's a plethora, obviously, of options in the outfield.
Yeah. Some of the names, the Ahmed Rosario's outfield eligible on FanDuel. You can go back there. Morale for the Cubs. Morale and Happ, that combo for the Cubs. Grichuk against a lefty in Coors is fine. Teoscar. Hernandez against Baltimore, against Zimmerman, the lefty. I like that one. Ozuna, O'Neill, those guys seem fine. My number one outfield guy happens to be my BVP play of the day. Dean.
Oh, boy. Yeah, here it is.
And it is Adam Duvall against Fetty Flop. Adam Duvall.
How huge is this sample? It's got to be like 60, 70, 80 at-bats?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think it's like 14. That's enough. That is enough that hits that's the cutoff point. It hits the cutoff point.
And does he have a couple bangers, I suppose? He's probably got them a couple times.
He's got some nice extra base action going on. Very limited in the strikeout department. He fits the criteria.
How about yourself, Will? As far as outfielders, and again, a lot of cheapies there. Duran's cheap if you want to use him. Oscar Gonzalez batting cleanup in Coors. He's got a good power stick. Young hitter. Happ is 3-4. Just up and down. There's cheap stuff. Morel leading off at 4.3K. Grisham is buried now in the 9 hole, but still he's super, super cheap. Mazzara's 2K on DK. And then there's Acuna, and then there's Trout. And nobody's playing Trout. Nobody's playing Judge. How are you handling the outfield?
Well, let me hop over to FanDuel real quick, and let me just say that while there's a lot of cheap outfielders, the Atlanta Braves are all too cheap outside of Acuna.
Yeah,
like all of them. It's incredible, really. So I did want to point that out. George Springer on FanDuel as well at 3,800. Like I think that's very, very reasonable in this spot here today. We've got Mr. Duran leading off at 2K. on FanDuel for the Red Sox against Senior James Caprillion. So I don't hate that as well. I'm trying to go off the wall, right? Because everybody's playing these win games and the Coors games. Tyler O'Neill at 2,600 on FanDuel against Ronzi Contreras.
But that's the thing. That's not off the wall. That's good too. There's just so much good stuff.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, everybody's. We don't have to tell them to look at the Padres or the Cubs or the Guardians or the Rockies. Like, I think people will look there. So I'm just kind of trying to give them some alternates, if you will, and that's where I'm at.
Give me a couple of homers. Who's going to bang one out, Chopper? Besides Duvall.
Oh, well, I can still say Duvall if I want
why
to.
not? Go for it.
Yeah, Duvall's going to definitely hit a home run. Patty the Tooth, that's an easy one. And I'll go down there and I'm going to say, oh man, so many good options here. I'll go Luke Voigt. Luke Voigt's going to hit a home run tonight.
Yeah. And again, there's so many first basemen that I don't know how heavily Leone's going to be, but his price is kind of goofy. What do you have, Wills? Give me a couple of guys that are going to bang out some homers.
I'm going two from the same team. I already talked about it. Give me Vlad Guerrero. Give me Santiago Espinal. Love those two guys, both on the same team. This one's, I guess, a little bit more off the board than we would probably think. Give me some Paul Goldschmidt today against Mr. Contreras.
He's been awesome this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just listen. It's kind of like when Joey Votto gets hot and you start asking for home run calls. He's going to go one of those weeks where he hits like 3 in a row. Just take him every day. Give me Paul Goldschmidt.
I'm telling you, man, people are not playing St. Louis. Like, they're just hiding on this slate. And, O'Neill is way too cheap. And then we talked about that ballpark, not great historically. It's just not. But, it's close to 100 degrees. It's got the Roth fire emoji. St. Louis is absolutely playable. The problem is there's just so many other teams that are playable too. And that's why I saw somebody in chat asking about Oakland, maybe a little bit of leverage against the Boston pitcher. We really don't know what he's going to be. We have no idea. But, Chop, I just can't. I can't. I'm not running enough lineups to get to Oakland. I can't. And they might be fine. They might even get to this guy and score 7 or 8 runs. But they're still going to be, in the distance amongst other teams, as far as I can tell.
Dean, Oakland, have you seen their lineup lately?
It's terrible. Yeah, Ricky Henderson's not in it anymore.
Oakland couldn't score 7 or 8 runs on Kirk Deese, man.
What does Kirsty? Is he have a cutter, Kirk Deese?
Oh, he's got an ephus pitch.
The ephus pitch is kind of tricky, man. You got to time that well. It's pretty tough. We got Carty coming in momentarily. We got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. Andre is warming up in the bullpen as well. They should be joining the show momentarily. Take you guys home all the way up the lock. See if anything else is going on YouTube. Anything prevalent. Seth Brown is an all-star. Well, somebody's got to be an all-star. This goofy rule, participation rule, where every team's got to have an all-star. Is it Seth Brown, or it's probably some reliever, right? Who's going to be the all-star for Oakland? I've not thought about that, but it's going to be somebody that probably doesn't deserve it. Oh, it's Montas. That's probably will be right. I guess that makes sense. Maybe, assuming he's not traded before the all-star game.
Maybe.
Who's Oakland's potential all-star? I guess it's Montas.
I think it probably has to be Montas unless he's traded.
Okay, yeah. Who's the second best guy if Montas gets traded? Who's waiting? Is it Seth Brown?
Is it Sergio Romo?
I mean, they probably have a good reliever, like Trevino or somebody doing well. I have no idea.
What do you think of that rule, Carty? Is that ridiculous? The participation trophy, every team's got to have an all-star?
I mean, it's kind of stupid because you get guys that really wouldn't be all-stars, but I get it. It's the all-star game. It's supposed to be fun. You want to include everybody. I don't know.
I like it. Come on, guys. When I was a kid, I wouldn't have wanted to watch the all-star. One of the reasons I would watch it every year is because they gave you the one Astro in there. It's a fun thing.
Glenn Davis.
Oh, we had Dickie Thon and Glenn Davis. You have one,
Mike Scott.
If you're on a bad team and you get that one guy in there as a kid, it makes it an enjoyable experience to watch it that night.
But you said when you were a kid, and that was the All-Star game mattered when you were a kid because you didn't have ESPN and you didn't have MLB package. You couldn't watch the players every single night.
Somebody out there is a kid right now, Dean, that wants to see
that kid. He can fire up on it. He can get any game he wants to on the MLB package. It's $150.
Okay. All
You
right,
can watch the
Grinch.
team all day long. That was the
Grinch.
exciting part.
You got, speaking of Grinch, you got one of those mustaches like those guys in the Grinch, so it fits the profile, man.
I'm coming off like a Grinch. I'm also like, the All-Star game theoretically matters. I'm told it matters. And like a reliever for Oakland versus a hitter from the Marlins is going to decide who has home field advantage for the Yankees and the Braves. That makes a lot of sense.
Do they still do home field advantage for the All-Star game for the World Series?
Yeah. And that's why people are tuning in, I think, for ratings. Is you're a National League fan and your team's in the National. I mean, I don't get it, but whatever. Yeah. But have you guys heard that Manfred's terrible? Well, we don't have time for this. It's a big slate. What's up, Roth? How are things in your world?
Pretty good. Just like you need to just give up on Patty the Brain and just admit that it's Patty the Tooth.
Oh, come on. Well, first of all, Chief is he had a secret door number 3. What was yours, Chief?
No, it was Patty in the Brain. A version of Pinky in the Brain. It was a play on words. And so Patty in the Brain, I think, after they said it, I was like, oh, Patty in the Brain. I like it.
I don't hate it, but Patty the Tooth has suddenly weirdly become my favorite nickname in all of sports. Like when I first heard it, I was like, this is stupid. But now I kind of love it. So Chop, good job with that.
Roth, you're a pitcher, right? You're a pitcher and you're on the mound and coming to the plate. Who are you more intimidated to face? A guy named the Tooth or a guy named the Brain? Who are you more scared to throw your fastball against? The Tooth?
Patty the Tooth? He's a mobster. If he strikes out, he's going to kill me. I'm terrified of that man.
Tooth.
It's a great nickname.
Before we swap off, can I actually ask Carty something quickly?
Yeah, what's up?
Carty, quick question. And I haven't refreshed. How much value are you going to give Juan Soto not being in this lineup tonight for Strider?
Ooh.
I mean, obviously he's the best hitter in baseball. So when he's not in the lineup, it's a big deal. The projection should be accounting for it at this point.
All right. Let me refresh them. My bad. I haven't refreshed. I was just kind of trying to get your.
Yeah. So, he projects well, but not like incredibly well. Part of it's that it's a low strikeout lineup. He doesn't have a super long leash. It's a hitter's park. I think it's hot there maybe. So, I think he's a good play, but he probably, I would imagine, will go a little over-owned.
Okay.
By the way, we're going to step aside and get out of here. Let you guys take it over. But Roth, I did want to say, Chop is making references to Dickie Thon and Mike Scott, who've not been relevant since like 1982 or whatever. Roth, you made a reference to Crocodile Dundee. And how old are you?
I don't even know where that came from. Like I know what makes sense here. It made no sense. But hey, it does tie into Wind Game, which we'll all be talking about. Yeah. I don't know where that came from, but yeah.
Happy to yield to you guys, the Crunch Time crew, myself, Chop, and Will. I'm getting some weird tech issues, so hopefully it's just on my end. Not really sure what's going on, but I'm going to step aside and get out of here. The Fanduel sponsor, Crunch Time, is starting now. Take it up, Roth.
That's it. That's the best in the biz right there. You gotta love Dean, man. Even with the stash, which the stash is hard to love, but you gotta love Dean either way. And now this is it. This is the moment you've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. It is Crunch Time, sponsored by FanDuel. If you're watching this and you're watching for free on the YouTube, you're watching because of FanDuel. So go ahead, hit that like, and don't forget, got a lot of good stuff going on here with FanDuel as well. And that does include here that tonight is the second night of 2 nights on the back-to-back FanDuel bonus. So if you rostered a hitter in one of their main, their marquee contests last night, and he hit a home run, any hitter, then join one of those marquee contests tonight. Any hitter, if they hit a home run as well, you get your share of a $25,000 bonus prize. It's just like, I don't know, it's free money. You're trying to get home run hitters anyways. So basically, if you signed up in one of those big contests last night, do it again tonight. Get that $25K. Also, they've got a great bonus going on. Bet $5, you get $200 back in free bets, regardless of if your bet wins or loses. With that, we get to bring in some of the best in the biz. The one and only CFO of the Bat. It's Mr. DerekCarty. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Things are going great. Good night last night. We got another big slate tonight where I think it's it sets up pretty similarly to how it set up last night. So yeah, I'm good.
What would you sell the bat for if I wanted to buy it?
Like
straight up, like how? Yeah, if I've got $50 million, how much could I buy the bat from you for?
50 million would do it, but
50 would do it. Okay.
But yeah, no, it would definitely be 7 or 8 figures. We'd be talking.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming that means like 9 or 10 million, 7 or 8 figures. Is that what that means? I don't know.
Over $1 million, probably over 10.
Okay. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's my guy right there. That's my guy. I love it. All right. Well, I got 50 million. Let's talk after the show. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think he believes me, and he's correct not to. We got Dre as well. Dre, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good over here. Just trying to piece together a couple things for tonight's slate, and hopefully win some people and win myself a lot of money.
That's the game plan. We try to win enough money so that you can buy DerekCarty's the bat and rename it to Dre's.
You already got me $1 million, so I'll definitely got to work to get more of it.
That's what I like to hear. Okay, guys, let's talk about the slate. Weather is not a concern as far as the bad side of things. It is very much so an issue as far as the good side of things. Already got some questions about Chicago saying, hey, Roth, is this Chicago wind going to stay consistent through the game? And the answer is no. It's going to gradually tail off, but it's tailing off from like a 25 mile per hour wind to like a almost 20 mile per hour wind, maybe a little lower, but it's just massively blowing out to left. It's 90 degrees. It's humid. It is literally the best weather conditions you could ask for in Chicago. And it's not too far from the best weather conditions you could ask for in St. Louis. I wish it was a little windier there as well, but it's great. Like, it's epic hitting weather in Chicago. It's really great hitting weather in St. Louis as well. Carty, anything else you want to add to that? I know you're kind of a mini weather guru. We can trade jobs. Once I buy the bat, you can have weather.
That sounds fun. I could talk about weather.
I know you can.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like, Wrigley's a huge deal today. The Cardinals game looks good. The Tigers game was this afternoon. Sorry.
But was like 95 degrees.
Yeah, it was super hot there. But yeah, even Coors is like 90 degrees today. So like the chalk is going to be good chalk, but there is lots of ways to get different from it today. Stuff like yesterday, we said like the chalk is good chalk, but there are other things that are basically almost as good that you can be different with. And that's the same thing today.
Yeah. And I'm scrolling down real quick just to like, even these, Mets game, like even Boston, we're in the 70s. They're not bad. Scrolling down to that Rockies game, in 155 games of similar weather conditions in Colorado, there are winds blowing in, but it's mid 80s. We've seen an 11% increase to home runs, about a 7% increase to total runs. So we always think of Coors as, the best hitting weather. It's even a little bit better than that tonight. So that's just a good thing to note. Okay, guys, let's kind of dive into this slate a little bit. I like to start a pitcher. Carty, you feel good starting us off?
Yeah. So pitcher tonight, we don't have anybody as good as we had last night. It's kind of just like guys that are pretty good and then a whole bunch of mediocrity. But the top pitcher on the slate is Nestor Cortes. Imagine saying that 2 months ago, but that's where we're at. Nestor Cortes is really good. He's facing the Rays, who are kind of mediocre. And yeah, he's the top pitcher on the slate. On Fanduel, where you only play one guy, I don't think you have to pay up to Cortes. I'm fine playing Jose Barrios instead. He's you save almost 2,000 over him over Cortes on Fanduel. He's against Baltimore, who's really bad, and that is some of the better, pitching weather of the night, if we're going to call it that, because we have all these games in the 80s and 90s, and that game's like 70. So, sure. So yeah, I like Barrios. I think he's good. We also have Corbin Burns on the slate, who it feels really weird to say, but like if I'm paying up at pitcher, I'm paying up for Cortes and not Burns. Burns is in a really tough spot. He's facing the Mets, The Mets are really good. The Mets are very low strikeout. And so Burns and Cash is just not an option for me. Even in GPPs, where he's going to be like one of the higher owned guys on the slate, I would think. I don't know. I don't think he's anything special. On DraftKings, I think I'll pair Cortez and Barrios. And on Fanduel, I think I'll take the discount on Barrios. And that's kind of what I'm going to do. You're fine if you want to play Spencer Strider. Like we mentioned earlier, like Soto's out of the lineup tonight, but it is a low strikeout lineup. It is like in the 80s there as well. And he always kind of has, I mean, he's a guy that has a pretty short leash. So I think Strider's fine, but I'd rather just get up to Cortez or Barrios personally. The GPP guys that I think I have the most interest in would be David Peterson on FanDuel and this Josh Winkowski guy for 5K against Oakland on DraftKings.
He doesn't even sound like a real guy.
Nah, it really doesn't, does it?
But all right, 5K, look at his projection. I mean, 5K and 10 fantasy points, and you take it basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he projects awesome, but he projects for like 12 DraftKings points. He's 5K. He'll open up some of the more expensive bats that let you get different from the chalk. So I'm fine with it.
Okay,
I don't think you play chalk with him, honestly, because he's not going to be owned.
Sure. I don't think he mentioned one of the top 5 pitchers in WAR in all of MLB, and that is Mr. McClanahan. I know he's going against a absolutely terrifying team in the Yankees, but he's a Tampa Bay Ray, and I love them. So is it just stupid to play him even in tournaments?
I mean, he's the most expensive guy on the slate,
but only by a little
on both sites.
And you talked about Burns. He's like, what, $200 more than Burns?
Yeah, but Burns is a better pitcher. And I mean, even in a better matchup, as tough as his matchup is, like if I'm going to play one of them, I'd rather just play Burns. You're not getting an ownership discount really. That's what I'm doing. I don't have a lot of McClanahan interest either.
Okay. All right, Dre, let me talk about, let's hear what you have to say about pitchers. If you have interest in McClanahan, let me know. Make me feel good about it. If that's stupid, let me know too.
I don't think it is stupid. It's just that, it's just the cost of it is what really bothers me, especially if, like, you're playing on, like you said, it's the most expensive pitcher on both sides tonight. And I could get a Nestor Cortez for 10-5. Or Corbin Burns a little bit cheaper against the Mets, even though the Mets have a low strikeout rate. It's like Carty said, I'd rather take that. Or I'd rather even go to a guy like Strider, who's going against Washington, and they're going to be without Juan Soto today. But even though, like you said, his leash isn't long, I'll take the chance. I'd rather take the chance on him, and then pay up and pair with the bats to see what I can do and get with there. I kind of like I know this is probably not a good guy, not well price wise, but to me price doesn't matter when it comes to baseball a little bit in a way, for mostly bats though. But Tyler Anderson going against the Angels is someone I have a little bit of interest in. I'm not going to be high on at all. And we know there's some strikeouts there in that Angels lineup, so I don't mind him. And I also don't mind Jose Barrios and taking a shot at him too today. I know he's going to be he's very, very popular, probably the most popular pitcher on the slate. They were definitely the most popular pitcher on the slate, and rightfully so. But I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore even got a few hits in there today and had a decent game. But I would still be at the field of Jose Barrios, maybe a little bit over. But yeah, that's really my pitching pool. Oh, and I like John Winkowski. I like getting to him just a tiny bit. More so as a DK play than anything, just because the price of 5K and it's at Oakland. That's all.
Talk about some stacks, and Dre, I'm going to let you go first here. Talk to me about what the chalk is, because it seems like there's a lot of really good spots, and I don't really know where people are headed. I imagine Chicago is the first spot we're looking.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, and what I've noticed today. For looking at, especially because I'm mainly playing on FanDuel today. Chicago is like the top spot that guys are heading towards and playing. A lot of, followed by Cleveland, which honestly I love today, as well as Toronto being in the third overall. But I like a couple of the other teams that were talked about earlier on the previous shows, like teams like Boston, the Dodgers, who's not getting as old as they should go be against Detmers, in my opinion. And I don't even mind taking the shot a little bit against St. Louis, against Cortez in another good hitting weather game that is hardly garnishing any ownership.
Mm-hmm.
But those are like the main teams I'll be attacking, and maybe like mixing in obviously the top teams. Like I said, I do like Toronto, and I do like Chicago and Cleveland, rightfully so. And I even do like Colorado, but I want to try to be like more overweight towards, like I said, the mid tier teams like Boston. I'm not that high on the Yankees today, and also the Dodgers and St. Louis, and as well as Atlanta too. Sorry, I meant to mention Atlanta because they've been playing pretty well lately. It's just finding the right guys on the right night to get those hits.
Okay, just to clear something up, you said you like Chicago, or you're headed towards that Chicago game. Do you mean Chicago the team or the place, and you like both teams? Because I'm looking at San Diego's record, and while I know nothing about baseball, I know that's a good record. Are people on San Diego?
I was talking more so money line. For a bet, like I like Chicago a lot, so bet, but I do like Chicago too in DFS as a team. Weathers, like, just if you look at the last year, like he hasn't pitched this year from what I saw, but if you look at last year's numbers versus just in general, like he's just 18% strikeout guy, walking about 8%, fly balls about 35%. And then it gets real crazy when you get to, like, if you want to attack like a lot of righties, 51% hard contact with 36% fly ball rate, and a walk rate of almost 10%, and a strikeout rate of 19, which is a little bit better than the lefties. But he's gonna have hard contact also on both sides of the plate. And like you said, it's a win game, and he's got a good amount of fly balls from what it was last year's. I'm interested to see how he's going to do this year in his first start, but I still would attack him with Chicago and the Cubs all day. I like their lineup, and I think they definitely really have a realistic chance to be a top stack on the slate.
Okay, excellent. All right, Carty, favorite stacks.
Yeah, so the Cubs are just clearly the best today, by a good amount. In cash, you're gonna want several Cubs. Obviously, Cleveland is good in cores. Colorado is good in cores, but the pivots are basically the same as we talked about last night. The Dodgers and the Braves are the top two offenses in all of baseball, and they're going to go overlooked, and they're both in really good matchups. Like, the Dodgers have been struggling a little bit, I guess, but they're against Reed Detmers. He's not very good, very easy to steal on, basically the same matchup as last night, and they're a really good play. The Braves are awesome. Last night, they crushed when people did not have them when they should have, because they're just all flocking onto Wrigley and Coors. So the Braves are really good, and Boston once again is really good. I think the one other team I throw in the mix is the Blue Jays, the righties in particular. Zimmerman has a really wide platoon split. But yeah, I mean, Chicago's definitely a tier of their own today. But after that, the Dodgers, the Braves, the Red Sox, they're basically just as good as Coors.
Okay, before we go position by position, can you explain to me why no one likes San Diego if they're in the same spot as Chicago? Is this Killian guy good?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering why they don't project as well as Chicago does. Killian does project as a good pitcher, so that's definitely part of it, I would think. And then, is this like a watered down lineup tonight? Maybe. Yeah, I mean, the lineup's not awesome.
Yes.
Like they're not awesome, but I think really it probably has a little bit to do with Killian. And yeah, I mean, for their price, they're great. But just like raw points, they're not as good as the Cubs tonight, because I think Ryan Weathers is significantly worse than Killian.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Double stack. I want them both. Double stack. Anyways, game stack, if you will. Okay, let's go position by position. Carty, start us off at catcher, please.
Wilson Contreras, he was easily the top play last night. He hit 2 home runs and other good stuff, and he's just clearly the right play today. He's not just the best catcher in baseball anymore. He's like one of the best, just like straight up hitters in baseball. Yeah. I think I looked today because I was curious. The Bat has him projected as the 15th best hitter in baseball. Like, that's insane for a catcher. So he's in this great spot. He's in cores. Play him on both sites in cash, and like that's your only guy basically. In GPPs, obviously you do other things, but he's Wow, he is actually the best. He's straight up the best play on the slate, like of anybody. He projects for the most points in the bat out of literally anybody.
Yeah, it's fun to me that now when we get to catcher on FanDuel, because it's the catcher first base position, there's a conversation because that dude consistently rivals some of the best first base plays, right?
Yeah. Tonight he's better than all of them.
That's amazing. All right, Dre, catcher.
Obviously, Wilson Contreras, like you mentioned, the best play. I love him. We'll hit another home run today. But besides that, I do like the guy who had 2.9 on FanDuel is getting less than 3% ownership, around 3% ownership in Will Smith. I love him to go yard today as well. I think he's in a fantastic matchup against Detmers. I like the other Contreras too from Atlanta, William Contreras, going against Fetty. I think he has a good, like I said, a good matchup. I think he can do pretty well today. And Alejandro Kirk for Toronto was another option that I would be looking at today. And I don't mind Steven Vogt as a one-off today for Oakland. But like that's like a deep tournament play if anything.
Okay, take us to first base, Dre.
Well, okay, you fixed it, Carty, because I had a question about that. I saw Freddie Freeman earlier today with like fantasy points of 5. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, the lineup was wrong. It messed it up for like 10 minutes there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, but Freddie Freeman's one of my top, and one of the guys I like getting into. That's going to be on their own. Matt Olson, Vlad Guerrero, CJ Cron. This is a strong position pretty much today. Paul Goldschmidt, Swindle, Vote. Like we can't go wrong with any of these top guys here tonight, and I love them all. I'm going to stick to those guys mainly, and probably maybe get to like a guy like Seth Brown if you want to run like a mini Oakland stack, just to go against Boston and be a little bit contrarian. And then Owen Miller as well, or Josh Naylor, obviously in the course game as well. It's a good option, or Franchi Cordero too for Boston.
Hey, Carty.
Yeah, on FanDuel, you're playing Contreras. I think Connor Joe is fine. I think Seth Brown is a good play tonight, especially in GPPs. Will definitely go overlooked, I think, on both sites. But he's a good play tonight. He's an all-star, apparently, based on the conversation we had earlier. But yeah, on DraftKings, like Frank Schwindel is such a good play. The other thing we didn't talk about, we're talking about like why the Cubs are so much better than the Padres, and like I'm trying to figure out why they project like this good. And obviously it's the weather, and the opposing pitcher Ryan Weathers is really bad, but he's also a lefty with a huge platoon split, and there are 9 right-handers in the lineup. So Schwindel batting cleanup with that platoon advantage, that big split. He's awesome at 2.7K. on DraftKings. CJ Cron, also a cleanup guy with the platoon advantage in cores. And those are kind of your cash guys. But, I like Matt Olson in GPPs. I like Freddie Freeman, that kind of thing.
Okay. Excellent. Second base.
In Coors Field, we have Brendan Rodgers hitting third on DraftKings. I think he's a really good play. Platoon advantage against Pilkington, 4.4K over there. On FanDuel, I think you can play him also at 3.1. I think he's a good play. Jake Cronenworth is going to be a good play on the San Diego side of that win game. FanDuel 3.2K, good play. Probably slightly prefer Rodgers, but it's basically a toss-up, whichever one of them you want to play. Or you can go down to Max Muncy, who's just always too cheap on FanDuel. Hasn't really been doing a lot, but 2.7K for a guy who's that good of a hitter in the best offense in baseball, like he's always going to be a really strong option, especially in GPPs. Owen Miller over on DraftKings, I think in particular, is going to be a good play in cores. And then you're doing GPP things. Trevor Story in your Boston stacks, Muncy in your Dodgers stacks. So yeah.
Okay, Dre.
Yeah, this position I definitely want to use mainly to stack, use a part of my stack. So I would trend towards the same thing that Carty was saying, but Ruder or Doris, a one-off, is maybe a guy I would have a little bit of interest in.
Carty approves. Yes.
Gavin Lux is another guy that I do like and just because he's probably one of the best offense, and I don't believe, and Angels also do not have a good bullpen this year, so I would take a shot with Gavin Lux and don't mind him, and Santiago Espinal if you're running Toronto out there. Besides the other guys, I think it's a good play today.
Okay, third base.
Okay, third base. Obviously, like this is third base is tough. Like I think this is where you probably end up using like your utility spot on one of these guys, especially more so especially on FanDuel. You got Jose Ramirez obviously in the Coors game. Patrick Wisdom, Patty the Tooth, Patty the Brain, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, Patty the Tooth.
A guy that I do like a lot today is Rafael Devers. I love him today. I think he has a great chance to have a big game today. Austin Riley, who's not getting any ownership at all, coming at like 4 or 5% owned, is someone else that you want to get to, especially in your Atlanta stacks. Justin Turner as well, coming at 2% owned. To me, Dodgers are just looking way on their own, and Atlanta, like you said before, it might end up honestly being my number 1, number 2 stacks after this. Matt Chapman, don't mind getting to him a little bit too as well. But yeah, that's really the main guys I'll be on. Don't mind a little bit of Yandy Diaz as if you want to go with a little like mini like a two hitter Tampa Bay against Cortez.
Okay, Carty, I'm letting you know right now I'm doing a game stack, San Diego and Chicago. Which third baseman am I supposed to choose? Because Patty the Tooth is the dude, but I'm pretty sure Manny Machado is good at baseball.
Yeah, he is, but Patty the Tooth is the play here. He's easily the best price considered play, and he actually projects straight up better than Machado just because his skill profile works so well here. You know, he's a righty, he's a big time power guy. He's got this huge platoon split advantage. The wind is most favorable, for home runs. So Patty the Tooth is great here. Jose Ramirez in Coors is awesome. Machado is really good. And then it's your guys in stacks, which are really good here. Devers, Muncy, Riley, Chapman, Justin Turner, all in your, in those good, non-chalk stacks.
Okay. That brings us to shortstop.
Trey Turner is the top play here and definitely a guy that I think you can consider going to in cash games. Particularly on FanDuel. Reed Detmers is not very good. He's a lefty. Turner's going to have the platoon advantage. He's very easy to steal on. Obviously, that's something that, works in Turner's favor. You also have Ahmed Rosario hitting second in Coors, though. He's 2.9K on FanDuel, so he's going to be a really good play. And he's 4K on DraftKings, which is really good. So I think those are kind of your cash options. If you need to save money, you do have Ha-Sung Kim in Wrigley at 2.8K on DraftKings. I don't think you need to go much cheaper than Rosario on FanDuel, but Kim is 2.3 over there. Nico Horner is 2.4 over there. Like, they're fine. And then it's your stack guys. It's Bichette, it's Xander, it's Swanson, it's Story. The good hitters in the offenses that I've talked about. Okay,
perfect. Dre, shortstop.
Shortstop, Trey Turner, Rosario, Bo Bichette. Bogarts I'm really high on him. Swanson as well. I like Dansby Swanson a lot, actually. Like that ownership, and then also him hitting second, that lineup. I would be really high on him. And Trevor Story. I'm not really like that. This shortstop, I'm going to just use a part of my stacks too. Like I think I said second base and third and the shortstop are the two positions I'm going to use to mainly have my stacks a part of.
Okay, excellent. Take us to the outfield.
It's loaded out here. We have a number of plethora of guys. Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, if you want to get different as a one-off, or Shohei Ohtani, who's not going to be owned. Obviously, go with the guys obviously in Coors. I'm trying my best not to mention those. JD Martinez is another guy who I like today. Adam Duvall, Durant, Bellinger, any of the Verdugo, any of these guys from Boston, mainly Boston, Atlanta. I would take obviously today. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't really talk about it. Besides, obviously, the Chicago guys. I'm not trying to mention them.
What are the Chicago guys that you love?
I'm not trying to mention them because everyone loves them. Like they're the obvious.
Why? I'm looking like why? I love Morel Mushroom. The guy's hit 3 home runs all season. I love that guy.
You don't need him to hit a home run. Like to me personally, when I play stacks, I play like the full team. I rarely take a guy out. So because anything's possible any given night. I've had guys that don't hit home runs all season hit a home run for me and win me $100,000. So
okay, all right, I like it.
I literally roll with that. That's how I normally play. So like would I be lower on him? Yes, I would be, but I would typically play like majority of these guys as far as in the outfield with Chicago and more the infield. But like I said, I like the other guys a lot more today in those teams.
Okay. All right, Carty. Some outfield thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same type of thing we've been talking about, and I agree here. Like, the Chicago guys are going to be good for cash. Not must plays though. I would have no problem being a little lower on these Chicago guys. Morel, Ian Happ are the good ones here. Then your Coors guys, your Oscar Gonzalez, your I'm blanking. Who's the other guy? I mean, I guess Gonzalez is the main one, really. You have Trent Grisham also, though, in Wrigley, who's good, and then you have your non-Wrigley good plays. Duran leading off for Boston, Seth Brown on the other side of that game. Mookie Betts in your Dodger stacks, Ronald Acuna in your Atlanta stacks. That's the type of thing that I'm into tonight. Oh, Ahmed Rosario is the other Cleveland guy that I was thinking of because on FanDuel you can play him in the outfield also.
Okay, you got one stack, Carty, to win it all. Who you playing?
It's probably the Dodgers.
Okay, excellent. Dre, you got one stack to win it all. Who you playing?
I don't know. It's tough.
Too many good ones.
It's between the Dodgers and Atlanta. I probably run them. I would try to run them both and run as a mini stack. That's probably what my strategy would be tonight.
Okay. All right. Let's take some QQs here and then get out of here. We got only a couple minutes to lock. DKGPP. Dre, you want Cronenworth and Trout or Rogers Acuna around a Cub stack?
Just because it's me, I'm going to say the first one because it's GPPs. But if you feel comfortable with for the second one, run that one.
Okay. All right. Carty, who's your favorite FanDuel GPP pitcher?
David Peterson.
Dan Jan says, Dre, am I nuts for wanting to play a Milwaukee stack in DK single entry?
Well, I mean, yes. I don't think it's gonna. I don't know if they have the upside tonight, so I would say yes.
Okay. Carty DY says, with such low ownership, would you consider a card stack contrarian, considering how great hitting weather it is?
They project fine, but they're a tier below Dodgers, Atlanta, Boston, Toronto. So personally, I'd pick those other teams before them, but they are okay.
Oof, this is a tough one, Dre. I got FanDuel GPP, Goldie, who's hit like 5 home runs in the last 4 days, or Trey in the util. I know Trey's a great play.
Trey Turner?
Yeah, I assume.
Yeah, that's really tough. Because I like Paul Goldschmidt for a home run again tonight. But I love Trey Turner in general.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I don't know.
It's GPP, so play Goldie because Trey's going to.
Well, they're both going to be low own. They're not going to be on at all.
I thought Trey was chalkier. Okay.
Trey probably might be a little bit more chalkier. Yeah. So probably Goldie if you want more. If you want home run, go Goldie. If you want like on base hits, possibly a steal, go Trey Turner.
All right, there you go. Carty, FanDuel GPP. Do you like Teoscar Hernandez or Duvall? I'm not sure.
Teoscar is the better play. He will be higher owned, but it's a really good spot. Like I said, that's a really good platoon advantage there. Whoever the opposing guy is, Zimmerman, really wide split. Teoscar is always too cheap on FanDuel, but I do like Duvall a lot because Atlanta's going to be under-owned.
Okay. EJack says, Dre, DK single entry, GPP, Arcia, Rogers, or Donovan Happ. P.S. I've got a mini Cub stack and a wraparound Brave stack. So Arcia, Rogers, or Donovan Happ.
I'm gonna go Donovan Happ.
Donovan Happ. Okay. Carty, DK Cash 3v3 coming up on lock here. Wisdom, Trey Turner, and Adam Duvall, or Austin Riley, Happ, and Dansby?
Wisdom, Turner, and Duvall.
Yeah. All right. Where are we at? Any home run picks? Dre, your favorite home run pick of the night? We hit the lock.
I'm just gonna go back to it and say Paul Goldschmidt.
Okay.
I like him today. I also like the call that shout out to Grant he put out earlier today, because when I was researching, that was the guy who I liked a lot too, Nolan Gorman. I like him as well.
Okay. Carty, before we've got a cheese question, a post-lock cheese question for you. We'll get to that in a second. First, who does the cartwheel? Rocky Raccoon says, who does the cartwheel like best from Oakland to hit a dong? I like this new nickname of yours, the cartwheel.
The cartwheel?
Yeah, you're the cartwheel now. Which, I don't know. It's pretty funny.
Seth Brown has the best chance from
There
Oakland.
you go. All right, now we're going to get to this cheese question for you, Carty. Where does McClanahan rank overall in the bat? Hang on. Context neutral, not in terms of tonight. Is that something you can look up for us easily, or is that kind of a tough ask? Okay.
If you include injured guys like Jacob deGrom, Scherzer, Sale, those types of guys, McClanahan's 19th, which is, I think, lower than people would expect or want him to be. But it's really just like there's a lot of really good pitchers in baseball. Like, he's not better than Corbin Burns. He's not better than Garrett Cole or, Clayton Kershaw or Carlos Rodon or Justin Verlander or Ohtani, or there's just other guys, but he is very, very good.
Okay. I disagree with you. And the reason why you have him at 18th, is that what you said?
I think
19th is that the bat in general puts a lot of stock into what have you done, right? Like historically. And this dude's young, right? He doesn't have that backdrop to fall back on like a guy like Cole or Verlander does.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously, it's only 12 starts this year where he's been awesome, but the walks are going to come back up. He has been getting lucky with his BABIP, with his left on base percentage. He also pitches in a really pitcher friendly park, which, is going to make his numbers look a little better than they should be, that kind of thing. So he's great. But he's not like Corbin Burns, Jacob deGrom great just yet. The bat needs to see more.
Right. I think that's what it is. The bat needs to see more. I think he's going to deliver more. But as always, you bring up awesome points about, coming back to regression on certain points. But I know nothing about baseball, but that dude's top 10. Lock it in. That dude's top 10. Okay. Anything you guys feel like we missed or we need to go over here? Because if not, we're going to go watch some hockey.
I mean, I will say, we're talking about home runs. I looked. The home run projections for Wisdom and Contreras are some of the higher projections I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They're really, really, really good tonight.
I had to put some money down on that today. As you saw in the look at the chat, I put some money down on that today.
Are you guys ready for a lineup that's absolutely going to win me my first ever GPP tonight?
What do you got?
We're going to end it on this. This is it. Pitcher, had to go my boy McClanahan and Strider. I got my guy, and I'm going to save some cash. Then I've got Contreras, Voit, Cronenworth, Patty the Tooth, Kim, and then in the outfield, Happ, Mazzara, who hasn't hit a home run yet this season but is about to, and Judge. It's everybody from the game that's going to hit home runs, and Judge, who only hits home runs.
I
can't lose.
I'm not a big fan of Judge tonight, but
to be fair, I didn't even look at like the spot that he's in.
He's against McClanahan, which is probably one of his biggest problems.
I should have looked. I was just like, all right, well, I've got all the money in the world. I get to pick one hitter. I'll pick the dude who just hits a home run every night. All right, I chose poorly there, but I'm still going to win a GPP with that. Just letting you guys know.
There you go.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel like San Diego was criminally underowned in that weather game.
No, you're right.
They might be a little overlooked tonight, actually.
Yeah,
you're definitely right. So that might be the edge tonight, because last night didn't they not play well and Chicago dominated? I'm correct.
No, I think San Diego scored like 12 runs or something last night.
It was maybe the night before. It was one of these nights I saw that it happened.
That game's going to be like 12-9, and game stacking is going to get me the W in that tournament, and I feel good about it. I also feel good about this. Two of the sharpest minds in the biz hanging out with us. Appreciate it, guys. For Carty and for Dre and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.